tonight we're drinking some wine, we're making some black bean dip, and this recipe is extremely easy. As always, screw the measurements. So we're just gonna wing it from here, and I'm gonna show you that no matter what you do, you are not going to mess this up. And cheers to cooking at home and making black bean dip. I'm using a red bell pepper in this recipe. Apparently, people are strongly against red bell peppers, and I'm just new to hearing this. If you don't like this, you can use tomatoes or just skip it. I've made this with just black beans and it turns out fine either way. We're gonna cut our bell pepper first. There are lots of different ways to cut a bell pepper, but essentially we wanna take this middle core out. What I'm gonna do is take the top here, which is nice and flat, and cut around that core. We don't wanna waste any of it. I'm gonna toss this. This is not necessarily edible. I'm gonna set these aside so you see the core in here. You can pull it out with a spoon or just cut around it. I like when life is easy, and I'm just gonna cut around it. So what I'm gonna do is just slice right down, just sliver right down, like that. And all we have left is the bottom. So just cut that off, and you can cut that in half. So with these quadrants, just slice down. If you have issue, my knife is sadly very dull right now. You can flip it over so the outside is on the bottom, and your knife will stick a little better in that inside skin than it does on the outside. In slices like this. I'm gonna push these aside, and it's onion time. In my ingredient list, I put half an onion. That is what I have here. I have a white onion. You can use a sweet onion, red onion, a shallot. You can use more garlic because we are using garlic. You can negate it all together and just use onion powder or dried onions. Now I'm gonna cut off the top and the bottom here. I'm gonna take off this outer membrane and the membrane underneath it. Membrane is the worst word I think, anyone has created for us. So from the bottom, keep your hand in a claw to hold it in place. We don't want our hands out like this where our fingers get in the way. Keep it like a claw, and you'll go down like this. Slice as thin or as thick as you want. To be honest, it really doesn't matter. We're going to saute these and put them in our dip. I've got some garlic here. Gotta take a wine break. As the director of this class, I direct everyone to take a sip of their drink. Good. Garlic is such a bitch to peel, which might take a minute or two. This is where a long straw to the wine would be very handy. But unfortunately, I have yet to find a long straw for just this purpose. Take that knife of yours and be very careful. The blade should be facing the other way. Make your hand flat and press down onto the garlic like such. Just smash it. I'm just gonna smash it and then slice it. Turn that heat on medium-high, and we wanna pour our olive oil on top, like this. I would say a generous amount to coat the pan and leave a little extra to lubricate those peppers and onions. I said lubricate. Lubricate. Onions. I'm gonna jazz it up with a little more oil. It's gonna take a few minutes. So in the meantime, let's get to our black beans. Now don't throw this top part away. I like to use this when I'm draining the beans. Let's go back to our stovetop. I'm gonna drain these at the sink. So what I like to do, I put the top of the can right on top, hold it in place, and I push down on the beans to let the liquid out. Like that. Wash your beans. Don't forget to wash your beans. I'm using raw beans. I want to make sure they're properly washed. But then again, if you don't have one of these, not the end of the world at all. Okay. So this is not going still. I should have left the blade in. I don't know why I took it out. Beautiful. I see some nice golden brown marks. Now let's season. This is where your salt, your paprika or chili powder or both, and your garlic powder come in handy. take your salt and just add a nice generous pinch here. I'm gonna do 2 pinches because I love the salt. If your peppers and onions are drying up a little bit, zhuzh it up with some olive oil, a little more. And get some garlic powder. We are not measuring, remember? But if you really, really want to measure, I would say about half a teaspoon of garlic powder. And just put it on top. Finally, I mix chili powder and paprika because I have both. One or the other is fine. And I would say I'm using about 1/4 of a teaspoon of those spices. Red wine vinegar, just a little splash. If you have red wine vinegar, this is the time to use it. If you don't, just skip this. So, splash. Good, baby. Good to go. They're gonna need to cool off a little bit. So we're gonna remove it from the heat. Cheers. I'm gonna just salt up my black beans a little bit. Take our tongs here. Put as much as we can in the processor. By the way, save some of the peppers and onions. I used, I would say 3/4 of my mixture. So set aside that other 1/4 and just leave it right there. We're gonna get to that. Beautiful. So get all the pieces that you left on your plate. We'll just pivot. So keep this in place and just pivot your knife like this. And let the middle part of the blade do the work. That's called the sweet spot. That's what we like to call it. You want little teeny pieces in every single bite because that's why we love dip. Put a big hunk in the middle and spread it with the back of the spoon. Sour cream. I'm just gonna put a dollop of the sour cream in the center. Next step, I'm using some shredded Mexican cheese. Sprinkle the cheese slightly half over the sour cream and onto one side, like that. Let's take those peppers and onions, cover the entire side because we're going to use the rest of that empty space with some fresh cilantro. I love fresh cilantro. If you don't have fresh cilantro, you can go dried chives, you can skip this all together, or you can go with fresh scallions, fresh chives. Those are what I would recommend. If you don't have any, just stick it. I'm just tearing it. You can cut it if you want. And I'm keeping like 4 leaves on the stem. Beautiful! You see cilantro here? Add some red pepper flakes on top. A drizzle of olive oil for appearance and just because it tastes great. If you have avocado oil, that would also go very well in this recipe. I have reserved some tortilla chips to serve it with. And when you are serving, if you want to just stick them in the side like this, I think we should dig in. Let's try it out. Here's to black bean dip. I'm a huge fan.